It smells a bit like goat. I think that's the strongest smell or the most obvious smell that I can liken it to. Mixed with a bit of cattle, sort of goaty cattle type smell. But you know, it's such a rich smell of life. And although you wouldn't want to spray it on yourself before you went out on a hot date, it certainly conjures for me a feeling of fertility and life, which is just beautiful. Now, a bird not quite as beautiful as the grey-crowned crane, but not nearly as ugly as the marabou stork, is one of our 5 vulture species.
Well, very true, James. I think for me, crown cranes are some of the most beautiful birds we got in Africa. And not sure many people will disagree with me when I say vultures are not as good looking, I would say, like the cranes. And this all happened during the migration. And apparently, until maybe 2 weeks ago, when the wildebeest came in here, most of these, I would say, not ugly birds that you're seeing were all gone, and they were all in Serengeti National Park in Tanzania following the migration. Now, you can see lots of them in the air there, gliding. And what they do, they take advantage of the heat thermals to glide. And ideally, they're just scanning the ground to find out what could be out or down there. And there could be all types of vultures that you see there. We've got about 7 different species of vultures, especially here in Kenya. And most of those are either white-backed vultures or the Rupert's griffon vulture. Now, once they spot something from up there, they just fly down and they start, either scavenging on it or stay close. If the killers or the cats are there, they'll wait until they move away. Now, I want to show you the one to the right. You see, on that tree there's one particular vulture to the right. And this one is the largest vulture and the strongest vulture that we got in East Africa, and it's called the Nubian vulture. And in general, they go in twos. While the others are always very gregarious, this particular one here, you'll always see a male and a female. It's the Nubian vulture or the lappet-faced vulture. Well, there's a lot to offer, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll now take you across all the way to South Africa to my friend Jamie, who is tracking.
David is absolutely right. Good morning to you all. My name is Jamie, and behind the camera is Craig, and you're watching us take a live bushwalk through the Greater Kruger National Park, where we this morning have had a very busy morning. This morning I woke up at about 4 to hear the sound of buffalo being attacked by lions. Unfortunately, it sounds as though they've moved into an area that we cannot follow. But Hosanna, the male leopard, was seen in this area, and then the vehicles couldn't keep up with him and they lost him. And this is where being on foot really comes into its own, because we can actually move through areas that vehicles cannot, and we can see whether or not we can pick up on any footprints, which is exactly what Herbie has done. We walk with a gentleman called Herbie. He's hiding away because he's gone into the thick. Animals leave slightly larger footprints.
Good luck, Jamie. You've had a great week on foot with the big animals. Hopefully you managed to find Hosanna. We are here with this herd of elephants. Beautiful family grouping made up of adult females with their offspring. So you'll get grannies and mums and daughters, and then sons up to the age of 15, 16. And then eventually they get pushed out as they start showing interest, sexual interest in the females. They get pushed away then to live a life of a nomadic male. HR Amin, you want to know what else elephants eat apart from grass? Well, in the Mara, they eat an enormous amount of grass because it is so prominent here. But they'll also feed on small herbs and forbs on the ground. And those tusks that you see there are used for gouging into trees, where they actually strip the bark of the trees. You can see the left tusk is a little bit more damaged than the right. Elephants are left or right-handed, we call it. They'll use one tusk more than the other, and they use that for gouging and ripping bark off of trees, and trees have got enormous amounts of medicinal value. Also push over trees with their big foreheads, and then rip up the roots, feeding on the cambium layer in the roots as well, and they'll also feed on multitude of fruit as well as leaves of the trees. It's all very seasonal, and they'll all feed on whatever they feel like as the time goes by. And in South Africa, you see switch from grass in summertime to trees and bark, specifically in the wintertime. That's because of the seasonality down there. Whereas up here, there is an enormous amount of grass throughout the year. The migration herds force the elephants to move out of these plains, and then they probably spend a lot more time feeding on trees up in the mountains. They are probably one of the most select leaders that we find. With their truck moving through the grass there, they're actually and trying particularly find exactly what they want out there. Okay, well, it sounds like James has managed to catch up with one of those fast cats. Let's go and see what it's up to.
We've managed to catch up with a cheetah, and we think it's a female cheetah, and we think that it's a female cheetah called Kenya. She's quite famous in this area, and I know that the view isn't the best because she's lying in the grass, but she is very close to the migration herds. We haven't gone far from where we were before, and if there is a chance of a cat hunting in the middle of the day, it's most likely going to be a cheetah. So she'll just lie here and hope that something comes a little bit closer during the course of the day. She'll probably hope that it's a youngster. Righty, you're going to stay with her, but David's got a predator that's a little bit more active than this.
Well, stay right there, James. Don't go anywhere, because we were watching those vultures out there, on the top of that. We just found from a distance this hyena who is feasting. How cool is this? This particular hyena is what we call the spotted hyena. And for those of you who could be joining us now, my name is David, and on camera with me is. It's exciting to see all what comes with the migration here between Kenya and Tanzania. You're watching CGTN World Wonderland Live Show, coming to you live from Kenya, Tanzania, and South Africa. Here in Kenya, we're in the Maasai Mara, and we got a spotted hyena who I would guess of a kill that could have happened here maybe early this morning by some lions. She eats, she poses, she looks, just in case the killer, who I guess is a lion or lionesses, may come back. So what she has to do is to eat very quickly. And if you look, he has taken some very good position to feed next to some tall grass, taking some good cover so that she is not spotted.
beautiful area with lots of rocks and beautiful trees. My name is Tristan, as David mentioned, and I've got David on camera as well this morning, and it is a warm welcome to the Serengeti. As you can see, these herds behind me are busy grazing at the moment, and they're slowly heading their way towards the river at the moment. There is a bigger herd unique to this area. It doesn't look anything like the Mara. As you can see, the Mara is more those big open grasslands, but this area you get these beautiful kind of acacia woodlands with these rocks, and the wildebeest in amongst them makes for a very pretty scene, and it's beautiful just to stop and listen to the wildebeest and watch as they go meandering their way down towards the river section. Now, this morning we were following a leopard for the better part of about 2 hours, but unfortunately he gave us the slip in a big rocky outcrop. So what we've decided is that we're going to head towards the river in the hope that the wildebeest that are heading in that direction are going to start to build up and potentially cross. They often do cross around this sort of time of the day from now until about lunchtime, so it's a good gamble to take, and hopefully we are going to get lucky with them there. There'll be lots and lots of hungry crocodiles that will be waiting, and many other predators that could be in the area as well. So it's a worthwhile gamble. You can see there's a zebra that is stuck in amongst the rocks as well, having a bit of a feed. They often do climb up the rocks a little bit just to be able to get to some of the grasses that haven't been eaten at this stage. There's still a few grasses that are growing between the rocks that are tasty and not nearly as sort of short, and so you often find some of the animals going in between them to feed. Right, we're going to carry on towards the river. We're going to see if we can catch up with that herd that's building there. In the meantime, though, send you to Steve, who's got a slightly larger grazer with him. Thanks, Tristan. Well, you are back the Mara Triangle side, and if you are just joining us, you are watching CGTN Wild Wonderland live show, and we are here with a big grumpy buffalo bull, also known as a dugger boy, and dugger is a local word for the term mud, and you see how well covered in mud he is. Now, these individuals are always the grumpy ones. Lions are constantly trying to catch them, and buffalo with those enormous horns, well, they always fight back.
Buffalo, a lion pride's ultimate challenge. A hunt for a full and coordinated team of lionesses. First, they single out a victim, panicking the herd and breaking its united front. Taking care to avoid the cow's raking horns, this experienced pride set to exhausting, injuring, and eventually flooring their victim. By rights, once she was down, her muzzle being crushed by dagger canines, the outcome was certain. Or was it? Sometimes buffalo find the courage to fight back, rescue their own. The lion slept hungry and humbled that night.
It's very interesting to me how few times I've seen prey fight back, and I think that if they manage to gather themselves together and fight back against their predators more often, I think that the predators would starve quite quickly. Thompson's gazelles at the back there, they are the last of the migration herds, and they're supposed to be around about